What's going on, everybody? It's the day, and this video is coming out late, and I apologize for that. But it's the day. Today marks the 10-year anniversary of me being on YouTube. And yay, let's break out the beer and the confetti and all that celebratory jazz. But that's not what this video is all about. So, I thought to myself, what can I do to make this video a little interesting? So I thought, maybe I could talk a little bit about my past here on the site, like what brought me here, and just stuff I've done on the site since. And oh boy, you guys are gonna be looking at somewhat, well, it was a different me at that time, so. But things have changed a lot since, so yeah, just keep that in mind. That me was very different from the me that's today. Well, there's still a little bit of old me in the current one, but I digress. So, alright. So, around in the summer of 2007, I had just been promoted to the 12th grade. I had just left the 11th grade, and at that time, I had just realized that, oh, hey, the internet is really cool because you can watch things on the internet. You can, find anime and stuff like that. And so at that time, I decided, you know what? I just wanted to kind of relive a little bit of my childhood. So I decided to try and find Digimon. Yeah, that's right. I was watching Digimon. Well, excuse me. I should say I wanted to watch Digimon. And, yeah, so I typed it in the search engine, and then there were a whole bunch of videos that popped up under this site called YouTube. And so I was like, okay, at first I was a little scared, because, I know that there were viruses and stuff going around, and I just didn't want to click on that site and risk the PC contracting a virus. So, excuse me, at that time, I said, yeah, I figured, you know what, nothing venture, nothing gain. So I did. I decided to click on a video, and it was legit. It was legit. There was no viruses, nothing like that. At that time, I had never heard of YouTube. That was my very, very first time ever coming across the site, and so I did. I watched the videos, though it was very, very hard to, because at that time there was only dial-up in this area, and Lord have mercy, I'm sure a lot of you, well, I should say a lot of you, every one of you who has ever had dial-up knows how horrible it is. And back then, at that time, YouTube had the 10-minute maximum video length. Well, actually, it was more like 9 minutes, 59 seconds. Some videos actually got to the 10-minute mark, and some actually exceeded it, like 10:15 or 10:30. But I digress. But yeah, trying to watch those 10-minute long videos, because they were just separated into parts. Whole episodes were separated into two parts. So, yeah, it took 4 hours for my computer to buffer all that. And of course, by the 4-hour mark, I would automatically be kicked offline, and I'd have to reconnect, and that was a pain in the ass. I think at that time, we were still using People PC. And yeah, also at that time, I was living with my grandparents, because I wasn't really, well, okay, I was old enough to live on my own, kind of, sorta, but I had just lost my mother, so I didn't want to be living by myself, and I didn't really have a job. I didn't even have my license at that time, so yeah, I was with my grandparents, and they had People PC, and again, dial-up was horrible. So anyway, I watched a few episodes, and then, I realized that, I can't really, leave, ratings and stuff like that, because back then, you had the 5-star rating system, and, I couldn't really do anything like that. I couldn't leave comments or anything like that, so, I decided, okay, I'm gonna make my account. And, if you've seen my other video where I explain why my username is what it is, yeah, you'll understand that. Yeah, so that's where Blazing SS4 came from, despite the fact that later on I found out that GT was horrible. So, yeah. I did watch some Dragon Ball GT fights, but they were kind of hard to watch, because again, the whole thing with dial-up really dial up at that time during that summer was just a really, really big bitch. So that's what that's all about. Um, well, actually, that's not a real way to end that. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to do this off the top of my head, so it's definitely not scripted. Should have mentioned that in the beginning of the video, but I'm sorry. Let's not ramble on. All right, so I made the account, and I was able to like leave ratings. I was able to make my own playlists and stuff like that. The person who I was watching the most at that time, again, because at that time I wanted to binge watch the whole Digimon series, and it was a user, if I recall correctly, the user's name was FFX Aurochs, which is basically an homage to Final Fantasy X, the Besaid Aurochs, the Blitzball team that Titus unfortunately becomes a part of by default, once he meets Waka. I believe that was his name, though. FFX Aurochs, or maybe it was Aurochs FFX, I don't remember. But that channel has long since been, like, terminated. It makes me a little sad. But then, I started, like, really noticing at that time that, people on the internet were dicks. I remember looking through the comments section, and holy crap, there were a whole lot of fags, faggots, you're gay, I fucked your mom, all these type of comments. And it makes sense when you think about, like, if you ever did some research on YouTube, you hear about the how YouTube was criticized, for basically being a clusterfuck of troll comments like that, and basically just being so unorganized, a jumbled mess, people not really knowing who's responding to who, and blah blah blah. I mean, it was just a really big orgy of troll the shit out of people. Let's be as offensive as possible. And at that time, I was actually still incredibly pissy. I was still kind of trying to cope with the fact that my mom wasn't around anymore, and I was living with my grandparents. And I don't hate my grandparents or anything, but I sure as hell didn't want to live with them because they didn't have central air conditioning or central heating. And yeah, so well, really, it's just the summertime. Because of them not having any air conditioning, the house would get super hot. It would be horrible. And then central heating, well, they had a wood furnace, and you know what? No, never mind. We're not. Let's not forget. Let's forget about all that. But yeah, I was just really upset about a whole bunch of things. Just life in general. Felt like I've been dealt a bad hand. I didn't remember my dad because my dad died when I was young, and my mom, well, she had just died recently from breast cancer, so it's like, yeah, people being dicks and whatnot, so it's like, you know what, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna be a dick on the internet, and so I started being a dick on the internet, and, oh boy, it wasn't really good. I mean, it was fun, and then you can say I met my match at that time. I mean, during that time, I was just still, like, your typical punk teenage kid, not like punk the genre, but like just being punk ass about things, just being a dick. You're again the whole thing like you're a faggot, you're a fag, blah blah blah, N-word, just whatever else that could be insulting stuff you'd expect from an immature brat. And yeah, I finally met my match with the guy who made a video about me being a dick, and yeah, at that point in time, it felt like the world was crashing down on me, because it's like, oh no, he made a video about me, oh no, blah blah blah. And it's like, thinking about it, it's like, geez Louise, bro, why are you so uptight about that shit? I mean, he made a video about you. No one knows what the fuck you look like. Nobody knows your address or nothing like that, because especially back then at that time with how the site was that when you could put information about yourself. So it's like you could put your name, like your actual real name, your birthday. Well, I don't think your birthday, actually your age. The time, what day you signed on to the site. Well, I should say what day you became a member on the site. Like when you was last active and stuff like that. It was all sorts of stuff. Basically, the site just was really, actually was brimming with a lot of information, basically, or potential information you could give out. And but anyway, yeah, so I got upset, and basically, I was trolled to hell and back by this individual for a good while, and then more trolls kind of gathered with this guy, and again was trolled the shit out of, like, really really hard. And then, like, eventually I was like, you know what, this is ridiculous. I'm going to close this account, Blazing SS4, and I'm gonna make another account, which I did. And I started up there, but unfortunately then the trolls wound up tracking me there. uh, Boy, oh boy, young Blazing was incredibly stupid. Yeah, if you're gonna do something like that, don't make a username that's basically like a redux of your last username, if you know what I mean. Because basically the other account I'm talking about was called Blazing SS4 Returns, and I was trolled like really really hard. But at the same time, I received, because of all the trolling, I received a lot of attention, and yeah, I made friends. I've also made a lot of enemies. And I also got a lot of subscribers. I started making more videos and stuff like that, still having to deal with the trolls. And then eventually I said, you know what, I'm not gonna deal with this shit anymore. You know what, I don't know why the fuck I just decided to just let my anger get the best of me. So you know what, I'm just gonna say, fuck it. I'm not gonna let these guys run all over me anymore. And I just said, I made a video. It's like, alright, you know what, this is ridiculous. All this drama with me and these other people, it's getting old. It's been going on for about 2 years now. So it's like, yeah, let's kind of move on, move the fuck off this shit, grow up, move along to better pastures, blah blah blah. And so I did. And then a few months later, I closed that account because I got a capture card at that time, and this was back in 2010. So yeah, it was like around a time where LPs were really starting to get off, and then I decided, I'm gonna get rid of this account, and there's a bug flying around in here, and I'm gonna make another account where I have LPs and stuff like that. And so I did, and didn't really take off too well. I had that channel for a long time. I actually closed that channel New Year's Eve of 2015, because of the fact that around that time there was stuff going on about, now, and mind you, at this time this was after Google Plus was integrated into YouTube, and was it? I'm sorry, I'm trying to get my thoughts together here. So yeah, at that time, around that time, I had received confirmation that we could finally just get rid of Google Plus accounts and stuff like that, and so I did. And unfortunately, Google Plus seemed to have taken a majority of the videos I had uploaded, because the fact that Google Plus had been around on the site for like 4 of the 6 years that I had that account, and it took a majority of my videos, like 2/3 of my videos, and I had over 1,000 of them. And yeah, but you know what, it was perfectly fine thinking about it, because I had a lot of dead subscribers and so on and so forth. At that time, you could say I wanted to become YouTube famous, because I thought to myself, hey, I play video games. I like video games. I could do that, and so on and so forth. And not a lot of people watched. It was actually kind of not a really good time to be doing stuff like that, because Google started treating YouTube as a business, and so it was getting really, really hard for smaller channels to grow, because they spend so much time blowing on the nuts of these bigger channels that smaller channels would be lucky to even get the time of day. You know what I mean? So yeah, it got ridiculous. You know what? I said, that's perfectly fine. So I closed that account and I made another account, and yeah, I didn't really stay really long with that account, because I've been very, very busy. But it's just that during that time, like, a lot of things has happened. Like with the time when I was doing LPs. Also, Lord have mercy, I'm sorry. I skipped things. All right. So yeah, okay. So I did mention that I closed this account earlier, but I brought it back, I believe, about a year later, because at that time, like early good old days of YouTube, you could close an account, but you could also request to have it reopened. So you could go back to that old account, so on and so forth. So, I decided, I want to do this because that was my very first account, and I had so many, like, good friends and stuff on it. Even though I had good friends on the Blazing SS4 Returns account, but it's just more like I just wanted that old account for the sake of sentimentality. And, yeah, so I had it reopened. But the thing was, I reopened it shortly before they finally got rid of the option that allowed you to retrieve your old deleted channels. So it's not possible to do that anymore. They stopped doing that, like, yeah, it's definitely been about 6 years. 6 or 7 years now. I don't even remember exactly what year it was. It was like the early 2010s. Okay, let's get back to what I was talking about with, like, a lot of things has happened, because when I had that LPing channel, I was going through a lot of stuff. Like, I was going through depression and just stuff like that, and it was all kinds of hell. It was almost like a redux of when how I felt when I lost my mom way back, and it was all kinds of terrible. And then I met somebody who managed to help me pick myself back up, and I fell in love with her, and we have a child together. We have a 3-year-old son, and we're currently engaged. So, great things has happened during that time period. All right, hold on. How about we go back to, like, good old days of YouTube? Because, okay, all right. Now, old YouTube was amazing, okay? You could have friends, like there was an option where you could add people as your friends. I mean, you kind of have that here, but it's more of a Google account thing. It's like you need Google Plus in order to do it. You have to add people to your circles, or was it make them your contacts? Some crap like that. It's incredibly stupid. Lord have mercy. Even with Google Plus gone, unfortunately, it still has its nasty grip on this amazing site, and it still makes me sad to this very day. I understand it is Google. Google owns YouTube, and they can do what they want with it, but at the same time, a lot of people don't like what they're doing with it, and they're not listening in the slightest. So it's like, what the flying fuck? So I just wanted, shoot. Lord, I'm sorry. My mind just went on an entirely different track right there. All right. So yeah, you could have, like, you could have friends, you could have subscribers, you could subscribe, so on and so forth. Because, like, they were both two different things. You had people who were just your friends, and then you had people who were your subscribers. You had people who were both, and I had plenty of those. And people at that time were actually more likely to, like, to leave comments and stuff, because mostly because this whole thing with Google Plus and all that stuff going around, a lot of people don't really like to comment on things. I mean, they still do. I'm not saying comments still don't happen in the comment section, but it's just that back then more people were just willing to comment, and especially given, like, how the atmosphere was. Now, I mean, again, I know, like I said, YouTube was just known as a clusterfuck of just, it was a trolling battleground, but at the same time, it also had a really nice endearing side to it. Like, for example, one thing that was taken away, and Lord have mercy, and a lot of us want it back, was customization, channel customization. During that time, you could, like, go on other people's channel pages, and you would see their channels, like what colors they use, or like if they have, like, a sort of background, usually like a tile-esque background. Like, for example, let's say if a person is a huge Sonic fan, and they have Sonic all in the background of their channel profile. I could leave a comment, be like, "Oh, cool, you like Sonic? I like Sonic as well," and we could hit it off, stuff like that. But now it's just so uniformed and nasty. A lot of people don't really like coming on to other people's channels, or even looking at their own channel profiles. It's just like, holy shit, The comment section, of course, gotten a hell of a lot better because, it got cleaner, but at the same time, YouTube still kind of likes to, like, fuck up a little bit. I shouldn't say YouTube, Google does it now. It's ridiculous. I mean, shoot. Remember, like, was it 2 years ago? Or was it 2 or 3 years ago when they actually, they granted you the mute function, the mute button. So it's like you could mute certain users or mute conversations. And I heard that in recent months that was taken away. What the fuck? Holy crap, no, that's not cool. Why would you do that? You know, it was a thing that was working. It was a thing that was working, and a lot of people appreciated it, especially people who really just didn't want to deal with trolls, because that is one thing that was a big pain in the ass with old YouTube, was dealing with trolls, you know? Like, like, you could block a troll and then totally ignore them, but it's like you would still get notifications whenever they start talking to you, you know, whenever they reply to your comments and stuff like that. And it got really annoying. But now, you know, they introduced the mute button, and it's like, okay, now I can actually mute this individual. I won't be notified or anything like that because I won't know shit because this person's muted. But they took that away. I don't know why they did that. But then again, Google tends to just take away things. They tend to want to fix things that aren't broken. There were some things in YouTube, old YouTube, that were broken, and you know, Google kind of fixed some of those things. But at the same time, Google also seems to just want to fuck up things that were actually working, things that wasn't broken, and it just got really ridiculous. These past few years with all this crazy crap going on. And Lord, I'm sorry. It's just, it is ridiculous. It really is. What else? What else? Shit, I guess there's nothing. Oh, God have mercy. I've been talking for almost 22 minutes. Let's see. I wanna go out on a really funny note. Oh yeah, I remember. Okay, I can do this. Okay. Remember back in the good old days, for those of y'all who have been on YouTube, like, for about as long as I have anyway, remember back when people weren't always like, rate, comment, and subscribe? Yeah. Pepper Ridge Farm remembers. I remember too. And all you people who have been around since YouTube's glory days, back when it was functioning very well before Google started really fucking up with it, you remember it too. And for that makes you very, very awesome. But, you know, even if you don't remember, like if you're one of those kids who was never there during that time, it's perfectly fine. You're still awesome too. That is until you start saying, Google is doing an excellent job with this site. Then you're just totally off the bench. Just go away, please. I'm sorry, that sounds douchey, but hey, I just wanted to go off on that note. Anyway, that's it for this video. I will catch you folks next time.